Good morning and welcome to another edition of Lindsay Walton, Professional Team Builder, and it is 4:30 in the morning currently. If you're ever wondering why on earth I film my videos so early in the morning, Jocko Willings, I stumbled across one of his videos on YouTube a little while back and it just really resonated with me. He was with a fellow buddy. My understanding is he is a former Navy SEAL. And he and his friend were standing there just talking about the value of getting up ridiculously early. So, don't think about 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 5 a.m. as early. He was saying get up at 4 and, all these different things you could get done. But the big thing was that all the people who need you are still in bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. And something about that statement just hit home. All the people who need me are in bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. So while it's not something I do every single morning, I have really valued getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, how much I'm able to get done, just what I'm able to do with that time, because it's me time. And so now that you're here at my YouTube channel, this is my play space, this is my sandbox to play in and to geek out about the things that make me happy, specific to facilitation and team building, because I just love it. And here we go, we're going to reach into the jar, we're going to grab another conversation topic, and we're going to find out what this video is going to be about. Here we go. When things get tense, facilitate paths of exit. All right. This topic, I think, is very relevant for, first of all, helping teams to work through difficult things. A lot of times when a facilitator runs a team building program, it's not just going to be all fun and games the entire way along. I happen to prefer using play-based facilitation myself. When running a team building program rather than training for a specific skill like conflict resolution or stress reduction, leadership, things like that. If it's, no, I'm coming in with my suitcases full of tools, rubber chickens, pool noodles, mouse traps. A team building program is very play-based because I find play is fantastically disruptive. I find that it helps people to break out of their everyday, normal, adult, grown-up patterns where they've settled into, this is the way I'm supposed to be. And play just lets people wake up, play, do something different. The end result is that having broken out of an adult, grown-up pattern, played like a child, which you are allowed to do if they've given permission to themselves to be themselves and just bring, whatever actually bubbled up to the table. Not only do you see the smiles, the laughs, you see, just belly laughs, just this release of relief as people engage with these activities and these challenges and have so much fun doing it at the same time. What can also bubble up now that we're not acting with the facade, this is what I want the world to see, but instead this is the real me showing up at the table. Sometimes the fire-breathing dragon shows up because the filters are down. Somebody's been really frustrated for a while. Somebody's been very angry. Somebody's been very scared. Somebody has had very intense emotions about a dynamic in their team that isn't working. And so it's an activity that you facilitated that allowed for that to come up. I think it's so beneficial for facilitators to know, don't be afraid of emotions. I've watched so many facilitators as they're finding their footing, establishing themselves, maturing as a facilitator. One of the biggest things they've had to get over is their fear of emotions. It can be really uncomfortable when people are angry, when people are sad, when people are just bawling because something really hit home for them, and finally, it's finding this outlet so they can process it. It can be really uncomfortable, especially in a group setting. But emotions are not something to be afraid of, and so just be prepared for that. Get over it. Create a safe space for people to be able to process that. If anything, I find when a facilitator shows that, no, this is okay. If you've got some emotions, bring them to the table, and we're going to make good choices about what are done with those emotions so they are constructive rather than destructive. Then even anger. Really, really strong, intense anger can be a constructive thing that surfaces. And just every now and then you come across a scenario where somebody's anger, they're not quite sure yet how to channel it in a constructive direction. And because they're struggling with it in that moment of, I want to do something destructive, but I don't, you can see that internal wrestling match. This isn't who I want to be or what I want to do, but something bad's about to happen. If you ever find yourself in that position, realizing somebody's in the middle of that internal battle, the best thing that you can do is facilitate a clean and clear exit. So, facilitation, very much about creating environments and experiences so that people can take away more than you ever thought possible, more than you could ever teach or instruct. You facilitated, so they took away something so much bigger. Well, the environment is a huge part of that, and so facilitating a clear exit means facilitating the environment. Do a quick check. Where are you? Are you in an outdoor space, a classroom, a gym, a boardroom? And outdoors is wonderful because it's almost always possible to just take off in any direction and just walk it off if you needed to, go get some space. So it's usually less of a concern when you're outdoors, but indoors, especially a boardroom, if you've got people that had to do this, excuse me, pardon me, just to get to their chair, it's a very tight space, those big, comfortable executive rolling chairs that are taking up all the floor space. When that happens, okay, how do we help this person get out of here? Please focus on the person who's not in the best headspace at the moment. Look for where your exits are, so flight attendant style. Okay, there are exits over the wings, front and back. Where are your exits? And clear that space, whether you are the person who is simply calmly moving a chair out of the way or making eye contact with somebody in the group and just asking, gesturing, could you please move over? How about you come over here? When we are able to rearrange furniture, help to move people, create a clear exit, so that the person does not have to go through anything or through anyone to be able to exit the space, really, really good things can happen. So taking a look at, first of all, what can happen, a sense of feeling trapped will automatically take people's emotions, whatever they happen to be, and take them up so many notches. Just anytime somebody's agitated, feeling agitated and trapped is a terrible combination. Just having facilitated clear paths of exit if you need to leave so that you can get space, process, walk it off, do whatever you got to do. Just knowing that they can do that can already diffuse the situation right there. Brings it down a few notches, and you can already see somebody feeling more safe, being able to stay and process. And simply because if they want to leave, they know they can. Wow, okay, so an environmental change. You have facilitated an environmental change and already helped to bring somebody's tension level way down. If the person does need to leave, oh my goodness, I have not experienced this in any of my classrooms yet, and I think a big part of that is that I have known to facilitate paths of exit. And to be proactive about that. So I do it, one, for fire reasons. If we ever had to evacuate, you don't want a pile of backpacks and a bunch of chairs by a doorway. Everybody needs to be able to exit safely. So I've been very aware of that, and that's served me well in many ways. But also just I've tried to make sure, no, if tension is rising, always facilitate paths of exit. For other people who weren't aware of that, or just something fell into place that, oh no, the intense emotions surfaced and there wasn't a path of exit. When I've heard of things going south for other people, a big part of it seems to have been that the person didn't have a clear exit path, and so the only way to get out was through. And going over into another realm, parenting. If you hear stories of, a parent just at a complete loss, an interaction with their teenager especially just went so poorly and they got shoved, they were hit, there was a physical altercation between themselves and their child that they weren't expecting. If you take a look at the story and you listen, where were you, walk me through what happened. The number of times that I've heard that and then heard the parent was standing in the doorway, their child had gone off to their bedroom, done the classic slam the door, the parent knock or just open, like, we're finishing this, and here was this teenager who had very intense emotions, who all of a sudden had no path of exit. The only way to leave their room was through the door, and if mom or dad was standing there, the only way to leave was through mom or dad. And this happens in workplaces, it happens in stores. When something goes south, things escalate and there's a physical altercation, how many times was it because the only way out of the situation was through? The person was in a bad headspace and their only exit, all they could see at the time, was if I want to get out of here, I have to go that way, and there was somebody blocking that path. So please, 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 be proactive. You know, think prevention. Always just have clear paths of exit. One, just for fire reasons. Always be prepared that, you know, sometimes the fire alarm goes off and you need to evacuate. So respect the space. But then also, if you facilitate any kind of program where you know either emotions can rise or that is the entire purpose for being here. Maybe you have a therapeutic program. Maybe you are trying to help people process intense emotions. If that's the case, then absolutely know your exits, keep paths clear, facilitate your activities in such a way that if somebody needs to leave, they're able to do so easily. Maybe even make that a part of your group charter at the very beginning. If you see somebody becoming agitated, give them space, allow them a clear path of exit, and then the team can work together to make that happen when somebody needs it. So those are my thoughts on when things get tense, facilitate paths of exit. Do you have any thoughts on that subject, or do you have any questions? Here in my Team Building Facilitator Sandbox where I play, I am really interested in connecting with other people who love facilitation, who are interested in it, who want to share their ideas, or who want to learn more about it. So share your comments, your thoughts, your suggestions. Do you have questions? Put them in the comments, and I'm either going to respond to it right away by video, or I'm going to write your question down. I'm going to add it to my jar. But also, just if you found this video interesting or helpful, like, share, subscribe, pass it on to other people. Be sure to follow the channel so that you know when more videos are coming out, and I'll look forward to seeing more of you. So all the best. Bye.